Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we all today? Well, it's a bit of a mixed morning this morning, to be quite honest. First of all, we've had closure on Herbie, who went missing a few days ago. And yesterday, we actually managed to find him. And basically, we've just put a little memorial plaque in the location where we found him. We think that he was probably clipped by a car, and he'd then obviously gone in the grove here, obviously either to nurse his wounds. I can't believe that we walked past where he was a couple of times. We were so busy checking the main road out on here than we were checking down there. So at least we've had some closure as to where he is, and I'm chuffed about that as well. So anyway, there we go. Hillary Rogers, I'm just hoping if your cat has come home, I hope he has, but thank you anyway for your messages you've sent me. I know what it's like when you lose a cat, and it's sometimes you just want closure. You want to know exactly what happened, otherwise you're always wondering whether they've gone off somewhere else. So obviously he's buried now, literally just behind this bush in the vineyard just behind. His body was so badly decomposed that we couldn't actually move him anywhere, so he's just over there laid to rest. So but again, lovely little fella. We would have had him a year this week, and he was given to us by the cousin of the landlord, who basically had so many kittens she didn't know what to do, so she said, would you take him? And we did, and he was a lovely little character. But anyway, I'll have some news on another little kitten that Jane is picking up today. So as one checks out, another one checks in. So anyway, that's little Herbie, bless him. Anyway, the weather today, as you can see, it's absolutely glorious. You know, the weather yesterday was really weird. Jane and I, on Jane's day off, we didn't go to the beach in the end. We actually ended up over at the Sylvie at the Paseo pool bar. Big shout out to the guys there. It was great to see that you were open again. And again, I've never seen that place so quiet. And it just had this air yesterday that it was going to rain. It was really weird. It just had this feeling that it was going to rain. As you can see, we don't exactly have blue skies. We've got like a haze at the moment. But again, it is still incredibly hot. Again, I'm just going to quickly give you Amanda's concise weather forecast, because I do like the way she writes that. Amanda says on her concise weather forecast, excuse me a minute there, lovely girl. I'm just going to move little out the way. On the concise weather forecast, she says, morning Ginge, Wednesday's weather sunny and very warm, highs of 31, but it's going to feel like 36. So again, it is absolutely sweltering. I was at the vets this morning. We took little Mr. Pickles for his injections this morning. Bless him. He was as good as gold. And so, yeah, but again, the weather is just, it's weird at the moment, but it's hot. So for those people looking in, this is what you're missing. Right. I've also got some other news for you as well. Some good news on Wiggy Winstanley, the ambassador for Wigan in Limassol, Cyprus. Can I just say a big thank you to Derek Cole, ex-RAF Reg buddy, also former warrant officer for Attery. He's retired now to Cyprus. Anyway, he was in touch yesterday, and Derek's managed to make contact with SAFA, that's the Soldiers, Sailors and Air Force Association, and they're going to basically take up Wiggy's case, so he's going to get some help. Being an ex-veteran, can I thank all his RAF Reg buddies who've been sending him words of encouragement and stuff like that. Derek quickly got in touch with me this morning just to say that Wiggy is now out of the ICU at the moment, which is cool, and he's slowly on the mend. But again, thank you to everybody, whether you're military or not, who was sending words of encouragement to the ambassador over there in Limassol. And he's feeling a lot more positive than what he did when he got in touch with me at the beginning of the week. So again, absolutely fantastic. I've also got to say last night as well, I was out last night at Magdalena's for the football. England played the Czech Republic. And what a game. What a game. Scrappy. I'm surprised there was not more yellow cards awarded during that game. However, England won 1-0. Luckily, so they won that game. So that means they're through. I felt very sorry for Scotland. They got absolutely trounced by Croatia yesterday. It'd have been great to have seen Scotland move on as well. But unfortunately, that's football, you know. But again, as always, the two-tier system was there in force, with the social distancing and the wearing of masks and all the VIPs. And we're also waiting to see if there's a spike in infections in London now through the football, which will just put fuel on the fire. But anyway, thank you to all those people who turned out last night in Magdalena's. I did a load of Vox Pops, which will be in tonight's broadcast. A big shout out to the staff from the Aqua Bay Hotel who were in there last night. Lovely people. Also, we had quite a smattering of Polish, and we also had I think a few Dutch in as well last night. So again, there's a Vox Pops from people in my show tonight. And big shout out to Ben Warner, because Beats Radio was banging out in the bar last night. I even sent him a little video clip of what was going on last night, and it made him feel good as well. So anyway, that's what's been going on. Right now, arrivals today then at the airport. Not that many, actually, to be quite honest. We got one arrival from Athens. We have one arrival from Kefalonia. And we also have 5 arrivals from Poland. And we also have one arrival from Sweden as well. And COVID in the last 24 hours in Greece, that's been a bit up and down, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. You might remember yesterday I said that there was 209 new infections across the country. Well, that number has now crept up to 406 new infections across the country. That means since the pandemic started, there's been 418,943 infections in the country since the pandemic. Now, interestingly, no cases were identified coming into the country. That number is down on the day from before, where there was 4 identified. So again, nobody was identified coming into Greece yesterday carrying a COVID infection. When it comes, obviously, to the statistics for local infections here, still no word of any new cases of COVID here on Zakynthos. So for the month of June, we've only had 6 cases. Again, they're only reporting places that go into double digits. And again, we're not one of those. So we are not on their radar, which is good. When it comes to deaths, they have dropped ever so slightly as well. Yesterday, I reported 17 new deaths across the country. Today, it's reported there were 16 new deaths across Greece. Our condolences to those families affected. That means the total death toll since the pandemic started is 12,581. 96% of those people had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. When it comes to incubations in ICUs across the country, that is also on the down as well, which is really good. The other day I reported to you 283. The number is now down to 277. Now, the age of critical ill patients has changed slightly. We were saying at one point the average age was about 68. They're now saying the average age of people in critical care is 67, and 83% of those have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. So again, ICU beds are also down with occupation as well. Now, interestingly, my first news story is a news story printed in the local press. I was quite surprised that it's taken them a little while to print this story, actually. But anyway, the Hermes newspaper said the first flight of Lufthansa airline took place last Saturday, and that was a flight from Munich to Zakynthos, and it brought with them 40 tourists from Germany. Anyway, they said that this is the start, and this is a new route that comes directly to connect our island with Germany and also with Lufthansa. They've also announced in the next few months that they are going to be starting new routes as well to both Zakynthos and Rhodes. So again, Zakynthos very much a place the Germans want to get to. Not always been a traditional location for the Germans, to be honest. It's kind of a lip service that's been paid here, but it looks like they're just going to be a little bit more forthright in bringing more people. Anyway, although they say we initially knew that the itineraries would take place from April, and of course, with the pandemic and the restrictive measures, we thought that changes would be brought. The flights will take place now every Wednesday and Saturday for Zakynthos using A320 and A321 aircraft. Now, the efforts to attract tourists from Germany to our island and its huge market, in which we did not have much of an access, as I've already said, but now is the opportunity for enlargement, and we must not let go and let it go to waste. This is what the local press are saying. The new destinations are to be added to Lufthansa's expanded list of destinations in Greece. They also include Athens, Thessaloniki, Santorini, Heraklion, which is in Crete, and also Corfu. They said, though this company serves many popular summer and city break destinations in Greece, and at the same time expands its network into the local markets while offering travellers more travel options than ever before. Regarding the market of Great Britain, from which our island draws the largest number of visitors, the situation is very difficult, and few British tourists who defied the obstacles and the long quarantine of return are still travelling to Zakynthos. So I'm really pleased that that story is out there now, although it's took them a little bit of time to actually publish it. There's more Germans on the way, and obviously they still want the British to come. But again, this could be this changing of the market now, and obviously trying to capitalise on what traditionally has been the main tourism demographic in Greece, which has been Germany. So again, let's pray that Boris pulls his finger out and lets you come abroad. Again, a lot of people last night, that was the topic of question that most people were, when are the British coming? When are the British coming? And even the Aqua Bay hotel staff were asking the same question, as well as people in the bars and restaurants that I was around yesterday. And the answer was, we really do not know. We're looking at maybe August at the moment, which I hate to say that, but that is the way that I'm feeling. Anyway, the Greek government spokesman has said that the government's coronavirus advisory committee is expected this week to consider abolishing the requirements to wear masks outdoors. Anyway, we all hope that we are close to this given epidemiology picture. This was Aristotle Pelloni who said this. She told reporters, in any case, this is a decision that should be taken by experts evaluating all the data. Now, you do remember I did say this yesterday, but there's been more little bits being released about this. So it means this could be happening by the end of the week, hopefully. Anyway, she added that the spread of the virus, however, continues and poses a risk to those who have not been vaccinated. For that reason, we are extending the free distribution of self-test kits to the population groups. We are making every effort to maintain a high rate of vaccinations. Anyway, regarding the country's vaccination rate, Pelloni said that as of Monday, more than 7.5 million vaccinations have been administered in Greece. That's more than 4,520,000 citizens. Sorry, 4,520,000 citizens who have been vaccinated with at least one dose, or that's 43.11% of the population, while more than 3,175,000 citizens have completed their vaccinations and had both doses where required. And so they're saying that is also 30.24% of the population. Now, in the meantime, Mitsotakis was also having a meeting on Tuesday, and he also reiterated, he said, thanks to the European Union, Greece has enough vaccine against COVID-19 to cover the possibility of a booster shot being required in the winter. So we all saw that one coming, didn't we? Brussels has said during the meeting to his office in Athens with the European Commission for Health and Food Safety, Stella Kyriakis, they said they took the politically difficult decision to purchase vaccines as the European Union had to distribute them to member states solely on the basis of the population size, without any distinctions between countries, rich or poor, big or small. It was, he said, a significantly successful European policy decision. Well, he is going to say that because, one, at the end of the day, he's looking not to shake up the European Union's hierarchy, because Greece is still going to require a bailing out to help pay for some of this as well. So he's obviously not going to bite the hand that feeds him at the moment. Anyway, Kyriakis also is upbeat about the progress with vaccinations, describing the current phase of the pandemic as fragile. Kyriakis, that's the health minister, said what we are seeing in all member states right now is a downward course in the number of coronavirus cases, fortunately in hospitalization, but we are also keeping a very close watch on the evolution of the variants, especially the Delta variant, which you know is causing problems in the United Kingdom right now. Anyway, the officials also discussed the greater integration of the European health sectors, with Kyriakis noting that the pandemic highlighted the need for structural changes. Now, interestingly, the Zakynthos hospital commander, that's what they call the head of the hospital commander, George Ragousis, he told the local press yesterday that here in Zakynthos, 32% of the population on Zakynthos have now been fully vaccinated. Vaccine coverage, he said, with one dose is at least 44.34%. Completed vaccinations is around about 32.24%. The positive index of controls, that means the risk of catching it at the moment, now runs at 0.02%. So that is absolutely low as hell. The rolling 7-day average of cases per 100,000 inhabitants, even though we don't have 100,000 inhabitants here, we've probably got about 40,000 inhabitants. That runs at 0.7, which is really low at the moment. And just overall, the status of the island's weekly trend is classed as declining. So all in all, Zakynthos is looking a good place to come at the moment. And we just hope that the powers that be in the UK obviously feel the same way, as again, we're still in the hands of them at the moment. Anyway, looking at the economic side of this now, the Hellenic Statistical Authority, or Elstat, they released figures on Tuesday which said almost 3 in every 10 Greeks face the risk of poverty based on their 2019 incomes. Now, in their report, they said that some 28.9% of the population, or just over 3 million people, were at risk of poverty or social exclusion, which was down to 1.1 percent points compared to the previous year. Now, the poverty threshold in Greece is set at, get this, the poverty threshold is set at €5,266 annually for a single person household. So that's a single person. And for a family with 2 children, the poverty threshold income is set at €11,059. All right. Now, they said that the risk of poverty was the highest among the 18 to 34 age group, of which there's 31.9% of the population. And also as well, 30.2% were Greeks and 54% were non-Greeks living in the country. So that would obviously include the British, I'm going to say that word as I said I wasn't going to say. Shall we say the British immigrant population, as well as the Albanian population as well, and other foreigners that are living here on the island. Anyway, they also said in their statistics that some 697,590 households were at risk of poverty out of a total of 4,115,678 households in the country. Anyway, 5 regions, including the Ionian Islands, Attica, Crete, South Aegean and Epirus, recorded an at-risk poverty rate below the national average. So obviously, if you're living in the Ionian, you're just doing slightly better than other people in other areas. Now, there's 8 other regions, which are Thessaly, central Greece, the Peloponnese, are just across the road from us around the Kalini area, the North Aegean, Central Macedonia and West Macedonia and East Macedonia, Thrace and Western Greece. They are recorded to be above average poverty risks. So obviously those are some of those locations. They don't rely on tourism as their main source of income. So every day is the same there, come winter, come summer. And I always said this when we had the economic meltdown in 2008. Things were always more positive for people on the islands where tourism is, because we've notoriously lived this boom and bust lifestyle. Okay, we work like crazy in the summer to make the money to survive the winter, and then when it comes to the winter, you kind of budget yourselves to get through that, knowing that you've got the summer coming, and then obviously you can then go back to making more money ready for the next winter. However, when you live on the main part of the country, in those areas just mentioned, every day is the same, and they're much more harder hit when it comes to economic recession than probably a lot of the islands are. Anyway, in a separate report on income equality in the country, Elstat said that the lowest income quartile, or 25% of the population in 2019, had a maximum yearly income of €6,079, while for the highest income quartile of population, the lowest annual income was around about 12,315. So again, a lot of areas are very close now to poverty, and with everything that's been going on with the tourist season and the lack of it and the lack of people coming, it's going to be interesting to see how the stats will then bear out for like this year and obviously for last year as well. Anyway, going to the big case at the moment in Greece, the Caroline Karaci's murder. It seems her husband, Babis Angelopoulos, has been remanded into pre-trial detention on Tuesday, following his confession that he murdered his wife on May the 11th. Now, he actually spent, I think, 5 hours giving his side of the story to the prosecutor. The prosecutor assigned to the case agreed with the lead investigator that the 33-year-old pilot should be held in state custody while he awaits trial. Angelopoulos spent 5 hours speaking to a prosecutor, providing his testimony on his crime before his fate was decided. He was then taken out of the courthouse wearing a bulletproof vest, accompanied by a large police escort, and was led to a police vehicle. And from there, he was driven straight away to Coriolandes prison. That is Greece's largest and probably most infamous jail. It's somewhere where you don't want to end up. But it was interesting that according to reports, Angelopoulos was going to spend his time temporarily incarcerated in the women's wing of the Coriolanus jail, obviously for his own protection. However, it has been also revealed that he will actually be now placed in what's called the 6th ward of the prison, and there he will share a cell with 3 other detainees, 2 of whom are there facing drugs charges, and the 3rd one is a former corrupt prison guard. So he's going to be in good company there, that's for sure. Now, also as well, yesterday, the Supreme Court prosecutor on Tuesday ordered a probe into leaks of sensitive personal material connected to the ongoing judicial investigation of the 11th of May murder of 20-year-old Caroline Crouch, in that it seems entries in her diary were revealed. Now, in a letter to the Athens prosecutor, Vasily Pilatas expressed outrage at the media and social media reports and commentary stemming from leaked passages from the personal diary of the victim, in which she described problems in her marriage to Babis, who has confessed obviously to a murder, and also other what they call privileged private thoughts. Now, the publication of such extracts, according to the prosecutor, is an affront to the deceased's personality and may even contribute to generating a favourable climate for the defendant over the course of the criminal process. So basically, by having her private thoughts aired in public, obviously the defence could obviously use that to try and get sentence either reduced or to probably back up some of his claims. I'm not even going to go through what he said in his testimony yesterday. I'm going to leave that as it is. But the prosecutor did actually say he urged the Journalists' Union to investigate possible code of conduct violations. And can I just remind people that here in Greece, journalism is much more strictly controlled than it is controlled in the UK. You have to be very careful what you say and what you do, because you can find yourself in a lot of hot water if you do not understand the basic rules of journalism within Greece. All right, so that's just a little point to note out there. I know myself that I follow those rules very closely. I do not put myself in a position where what I say is going to be judged, like in this court case, something that could affect the court case. And trust me, when they're looking to try and assign blame, or they're looking for a way to get somebody off a court case, they will blame the press. And if they can blame an individual, trust me, they will do. Anyway, and finally, I've found a happy story, a nice, happy, heartwarming story. And it's the story of postman Nicholas Ragousis. Yes, he's the last traditional mailman of the Amyrgos Island in Greece. Now, he's retired in June after 36 years of delivering parcels and mail, and he did it every day walking. Never used a car, never used a vehicle. He would walk every day to deliver the mail. And where his round was, it seems quite incredible. His main round was in the steep alleyways and of Chlora, which is the capital of the island of Amyrgos. It's a beautiful little location from the looks of the pictures. And he says, actually, he said it was a tiring job. He says up and down those alleys, but I did not complain. And with God's help, anything can be achieved. That's what he told the press. Anyway, for those people who wonder where Chloris is, I would love to go and visit there. It sounds a beautiful place. Chlora is situated in the interior of Amyrgos at an altitude of 350 meters, or that's 1,148 feet. So what they're saying was it was an uphill route, but a great ride down. But he did it all on foot. Anyway, and it's in the centre of the island. It's a protected village, so it's got Kalidic houses and narrow alleyways and churches, and it surrounds a castle which was built in the 13th century. Ragousis now, as I said, has just retired after marking the end of an era in the island, because it seems his replacement now is actually going to deliver the mail by car. All right, bless. Anyway, he said He's seen many changes to the Aegean island over his 36 years on the job. He says tourism has changed the island. Now almost all the locals are involved with tourism, he says. They rent apartments and rooms to make a living. He also says Amigos became famous as a tourist attraction in the late 1980s when it was used as a backdrop for a film called The Big Blue. Now, this film was actually a French film. It became France's most commercially successful film in 1988, and it's a heavily fictionalized, dramatized story of a friendship and sporting rivalries between two contemporary champion free divers in the 20th century. He also said there was another movie made in Germany called Tochter or Daughters, and that film also just cemented the attraction of that island for tourists from France and Germany to go and visit there. And asked what he's got planned for the future, he says, well, what does the future hold? He says, I will not get involved in tourism. He said that was the first one. He said, I own a small piece of farmland near the village. And he says, and I will devote all my energies to farming that farmland. Bless him. Right, so there you go. That's the news for today. Let's have a quick look to see who's tuning in. Lyndon is watching in from Wales. Nice to have you here. Heather Nash is looking in. She says, morning to you and Jane from sunny Birmingham. Jane today is working. I think she might be at the airport today, but I know she's doing her bit this morning. Yvonne Monroe says, morning DJ Ginge Coldwell. Thank you. Brian Cardle's just told me there's a variant kind of called the Delta Plus reported. Again, it's not letting me read the comments. It really annoys me when it does that. So I shall just quickly say whose comments I can read. All right. Rainer Pete Dillon, thank you. Alf Ling, Cherry Stott up there in the north end of the island. She's tuning in. Lovely to have you tuning in. I'm not sure whether you're back to work at the moment or not. Also, as well, Denise Tyndall is watching. Oh, this is so annoying. I know there's people wanting to leave comments, and as always, I can never get to read the comments for some reason. Nice message from Shane Bowen. He says, Gallimera Gin, sorry for the loss of Herbie. Do you know what? I'm just pleased we found him, so we've got closure. We've beaten ourselves up over it. We've been doing the Mrs. Marple, checking for evidence, shall we say? But again, bless it. At least we've found him. He's had a burial. We know where he is, and we won't be wondering for the rest of our lives. And I'm going to let the birds of prey off the hook now. They certainly didn't take him. All right, as well. Maureen Elves, who lives round the corner, she's looking in as well. Nice to see you as well. Brian Tyndall is watching. Again, it keeps doing what it does. As Rainer Pete Dillon says, very sad, but better that you now have closure. Thank you very much. I know Christine Coldwell was watching in from Leighton Buzzard. Nice to see you there. Cherry, somebody said to me, made it live today for a change. Bless you. I'm pleased you have. Right, it looks like I can't actually read any more comments. It's just not letting. I've got to that comment from Brian. He says there's a new variant in India called the Delta Plus, reported on the news on radio. Looks like we're getting ready to be set up. Do you know what? I've been saying this all along. You just cannot trust a word that either Matt Hancock or Boris says. They'll stand there all patronisingly with a long face going, oh, how sad. Oh, we've got your better interests at heart. We're doing all... and you just think to yourself, shut up, open up, let's get back to work. Let's get back and start putting our lives back together. Let's take our chances. It reminds me of the beaches of Normandy. If the soldiers in the beaches of Normandy had sat in their shell holes while being shot at by the Germans and not got up and moved forward to take the ground... then obviously they'd still be sat there now 70 years later. So this is what we've got to do, or you've got to do in Britain. Tell Boris to shut the F up. Tell Hancock to get out of it. And basically say, we demand that we go back to work. We demand that we can get back and live our lives normally. And we will take our chances. You've been raving about how great the vaccine has been. Well, let's start putting the vaccine to the test by people getting back to a normal existence. So there's my rant for today. But thank you for that, Brian. Dave Matthews is watching. Barbara Cocker is watching. Jane Clues is watching. That's Jane's ex-sister-in-law. Nice to have you looking in as well, my love. Denise Tinstall. I'm just having a little slowly scroll down. Steve Hinkling is also looking in as well. I like somebody just wrote, Boris, shut the F up, you prick. Thank you, Boris. Thank you, whoever that was who wrote that. I've got a feeling that sounds like a Shane comment to me. It probably isn't, but it just does. And also, can I just say congratulations to Shane. Shane yesterday won a competition on beatsradio.co.uk. He won, I'm not even sure what it was that you won, some kind of unit from what, I don't know what it was, but you won the competition. I'm so chuffed you won it, mate. You deserve to win it. You've been an absolute stalwart on that station with your interaction, and you're always there listening in with your bass bins booming across Exmoor. And once again, cheers for that, mate. Greatly appreciate it. Right, that's it from me. I'm gibbering on now. Just to remind you, I will be broadcasting tonight, 9 o'clock my time here, 7 o'clock your time there. I'll be broadcasting straight through till 1 o'clock in the morning here in Zakynthos, which is 11 o'clock your time in the UK. Basically, a reverse broadcast into Magdalena's from here. I know there's lots of people going to be turning up into Magdalena's tonight. Oh, yeah, it was an Alexa Echo Dot. Thank you there, whatever one of those is. It's probably one of them little things you talk to it and it speaks back to you. But anyway, I will be broadcasting out of here. I will be recording that show so that it can be shown in the bar at later dates. Can I also say that the third broadcast has done phenomenally well on Mixcloud. It went to number 42 in the electronic dance music chart on the global chart. This is just not the normal little chart, but the global chart. So that gets stamped all over it. And again, it's still doing very well in all the other categories that it was in, from pop, soul, trance music. The only thing it didn't chart in was the country chart. I was hoping it might make some inroad into the country chart, because we did play quite a bit of country music last week, which was fun. But anyway, I'll be broadcasting tonight, so come and join me if you want. Any requests, dedications. I've got messages from the boys at the bar as well, and also from our guests who are in the venue as well yesterday, talking about the football and also about their holidays here in Zakynthos at the moment. So you get a little taste of Magdalena's, and hopefully when Boris makes his mind up, you will get to come and enjoy some of that as well. Right, that's it from me. You have a great day, and I will speak to you again soon. Ta-ra!